Hi, how are you? Welcome to the second episode of The Hidden Side of Us. And right now, we're going to dive into a topic that's very dear to me. But before that, let me share to you a snippet of my story that's actually one of the main reasons why I pursued psychology and why I'm here right now talking to you. It all started when I was in 11th grade. STEM student, tahimik ang buhay. Pre-pandemic era yun. Hindi pa uso nun sa amin yung may sariling printer sa bahay, may wifi sa bahay, kasi hindi naman kami mayaman. So, whenever I needed to do some schoolworks na kailangan ng electronic devices like printer, I needed to go pa sa computer shops. And that day, for some reason, puno yung computer shop na lagi kong pinupuntahan. So, I needed to move to another computer shop. Yung medyo dulo. So, it's a place kasi na hile-hilera yung computer shops dito sa hometown namin. It was a seemingly normal day na tahimik akong gumagawa ng schoolworks ko dun sa inupuan ko, which is sa tabi ng pinto kasi mas presko. And walang aircon yung computer shop na yun. And then suddenly, a boy who looked a bit younger than me entered the computer shop. Tapos since nasa side ko lang yung pinto, napatingin ako. And siguro nakita niya sa peripheral view niya na napatingin ako, kaya napatingin din siya sa may gawi ko. Hindi ko masabi kung napatingin siya mismo sa akin, pero sa may gawi ko siya napatingin. Yun yung sure ko. And I didn't know what happened, but suddenly, he just yelled. Napatalon ako sa gulat. He looked completely normal. He looked typical. No sign of any difference sa physical appearance niya. It was the first time I saw him. I didn't know him personally. And that time, nung nangyari yun, I froze. Partly from shock, partly because I've always been the type of person na pag nagugulat, hindi nakakapag-react agad, na natatameme. After that, the boy had a meltdown. Hindi lang pagsigaw yung nangyari. Umiyak siya, he was covering his ears, he was hitting his head, and ang dami niyang sinasabi, ang dami niyang mga sinisigaw. Before I could process it, dumating yung kapatid niya. Yung ate niya siguro yun. And pinatahan niya yung kapatid niya hanggang sa nahila na niya palabas dun sa computer shop na yun. After a few minutes, nung nakalabas na yung kapatid niya, bumalik yung ate and she apologized to the owner. Naririnig ko kasi malapit yung upuan ko dun sa may counter nung computer shop. And the sister explained that her brother had a condition. And first time niyang lumabas ulit after months of staying in. Kaka-start niya lang din daw na matutong magsalita. So for how many years he was nonverbal. And everything he hears sa klase nila, kakabalik niya rin sa pag-aaral, everything he hears in class, inuulit-ulit niya ng pasigaw. After that, pag uwi ko sa bahay, I got so curious, I kept thinking about it. I kept thinking about the term na ginamit niya to describe the condition of his brother. And that is autism. Autism spectrum disorder. That exact moment broke a stereotype I didn't even know I had. Kasi bago mangyari yun, I used to believe that humans are just either good or bad, na it's either mabuti kang tao or masama kang tao. Walang gray areas, walang in-betweens. And when I searched for it, ang daming articles na lumabas, ang dami kong natutunan, and it made me softer, it made me more open to the possibilities of the world na hindi ko pa nakikita. It taught me that ang dami ko pa palang hindi alam sa mundo, ang dami ko pa palang hindi nakikilala. It became the moment when I started wanting to learn more about autism. And eventually, sa kaka-search ko about autism, I came across other psychology stuff like depression until I started to love psychology. Upon encountering other people then with the same condition or with other mental health conditions na nangyari noong enrollment period na, siguro sign na yun ni Lord Ang daming mga pangyayari sa buhay ko, those times na nadedebunk yung thinking ko about human behavior. Being curious about autism made me realize this. Most of us think we understand a lot about this condition until a real moment forces us to see how much we don't. We often picture the stereotypes, the TV shows, yan, yung mga extraordinary attorney Woo, yung assumptions, but not the reality, not the overwhelming feeling they have, not the sensory world they live in, not the differences in communication, not the courage it takes to step outside after months of staying in. So today, in this episode, let's go deeper. Let's talk about what autism spectrum disorder really is, beyond the labels, beyond the myths, beyond the things we think we know. Let's start with the basics. Have you ever wondered what it's like when the mind turns against itself? Hi, I'm Joe, and with my background in psychology, I invite you to explore what lies beneath the surface. This is The Hidden Side of Us, where science meets story and the unseen becomes understood. Some topics may be heavy or triggering. If you feel overwhelmed, pause and care for yourself or call the National Center for Mental Health at 1553. Ano nga ba ang autism? Let's talk about what autism is and what autism isn't. Number 1, autism is a neurodevelopmental condition. Ibig sabihin, pag sinabi nating neurodevelopmental, nadadala ito ng isang tao mula pagkabata. This condition affects how a person perceives the world, how a person communicates, socializes, and self-regulates. It doesn't mean something is wrong with them. It means their experience of life is just different from others. Number 2, autism is lifelong. It's not a phase. It's not something you can outgrow. Hindi ito mawawala kapag dinisiplina mo lang yung bata. But with support, understanding, and accommodations, people with autism thrive. Number 3, it's not caused by parenting. It's not caused by authoritarian, authoritative parenting, bad parenting, soft parenting. It's not caused by parenting. Number 4, it's not caused by vaccines. Yan, scientific research has debunked this belief over and over again for the past years. Hindi po dahil sa vaccine, like COVID vaccine, ang autism. Number 5, it's not a bad behavior. Yung pag-iyak nila, yung steaming na tinatawag, yung pag-cover nila ng ears, yung pagka-overwhelm nila ng madalas, hindi po ito arte lang, hindi ito pagiging pasaway. It's their way to cope when there is sensory overload. 6.1, autism is not obvious all the time. Kaya nga, dun sa na-experience ko, hindi siya nakikita physically. Number 7, it's not lack of empathy. Madalas nasasabi natin na kapag may autism ang isang tao, wala na siyang pakiramdam. Na ayaw niya ng social connection. This is one of the most harmful myths or misconceptions about autism. Kasi, ang totoo, individuals with autism feel deeply. Minsan sobra pa nga. But because they have other ways of processing things, they have other ways of communicating, minsan hindi agad lumalabas sa paraang expected ng society. Number 8, this is the most important to understand. Autism is a wide spectrum. Kaya nga siya tinawag na autism spectrum disorder. So it's not the stereotypes we grew up with. Kasi for a long time, people imagined autism as one straight line. Parang range na from mild to severe. Hindi po ganun. It's more like a color wheel or soundboard na may iba-iba ang settings, iba-iba ang intensity per person. So no two people with autism are the same. Yung iba sobrang galing sa academics and arts, yung iba naman may kasamang learning difficulties. Some are independent, others need full support. Some are sensitive to sound, others are not that sensitive. Some loves routines, some are flexible. And take note, isa sa misconceptions na pinapakita ng mga TV show na sumisikat about autism ay yung pagiging genius nila, yung highly intelligent. Hindi lahat ng mga individual na may autism spectrum disorder ay genius. Magkakaiba po sila. they're also not all socially awkward kasi meron naman yung iba na hindi ganito. This is why labels like high functioning or low functioning can be harmful. Kasi kapag sinabi natin na high functioning sila, it often hides their struggles. People assume na kaya nila lahat so they don't get enough support. Kapag naman sinabing low functioning, it often hides their strengths. People assume that they can't achieve or understand na lagi na silang namamaliit, which is not true. So better way to phrase things, before using labels, ask first what supports they need in each area of daily life. Hindi rin po maganda yung ginagamit nating adjective yung autism. Like, paggamit na, autistic yan. Yung term na autistic, mas okay if, may autism siya. Kasi it's like, you're defining the person by his or her condition. So, mas okay if sinasabi po natin individuals with autism. I know it can be a mouthful kasi mas madali nga namang bigkasin yung autistic kaysa sa taong may autism. Pero, mas mabuti nang mapagod tayo sa kakabigkas ng mas maraming pantig ng mga salita kaysa makasakit tayo ng damdamin ng iba. Hindi po ba? So, it can be, imbes na sabihan natin sila na highly functioning or low functioning autistic person, pwedeng highly verbal but socially overwhelmed, independent but sensory sensitive, academically strong but struggles with executive function, emotionally intuitive but non-speaking. Mas okay pag maging specific tayo sa kung ano yung kailangan nilang suporta. So, spectrum is not about ranking people, but about understanding how different each of their mind is and how tailored support can help them thrive. So stop regarding them as less because they're not less. They're just different. Now that we're clearing the myths, let's talk about the core areas kung saan pinaka nagiging visible ang autism. Tatlo ito. The first one, social communication, and then routines and steaming, and then of course, sensory differences. Itong steaming na to, kapag bago to sa pandinig nyo, ito yung nagde-describe sa natural and repetitive na action na nakakatulong sa mga taong may autism para ma-regulate nila yung emotions nila. Makapag-focus sila, makapag-cope with sensory overload. Mamaya, malalaman natin yung mga example ng tinatawag nating steaming. Some signs of autism are noticeable early on, while others are quiet and subtle. So, dumako tayo ngayon sa unang core area ng signs ng autism, which is social communication differences. Autism does not equate to not wanting to socialize. They just have different ways of expressing or interpreting cues. Pwedeng kasing nahihirapan sila sa small talk, or yung iba hindi nababasa agad yung facial expressions or tono ng pananalita ng mga nakakausap nila. Some also speak early but very literal sila mag-interpret ng language, such as the popular sample na scenario na, "Can you pass me the salt?" Kapag may kaharap ka raw na may autism, maaaring kapag tinanong mo sila ng "Can you pass me the salt?", yung maging interpretation nila ay tinatanong mo sila kung kaya nilang ipasa sa'yo yung salt. So, pwedeng yung iba sa kanila, ang magiging response sa'yo ay yes, but they won't pass you the salt. Hindi ka nagre-request na iabot sa'yo yung salt. So if we already know that mas literal yung pag-interpret nila ng language, it's better to consider that also when conversing to them. There are also cases wherein delayed yung speech nila. These are people who speak later than their peers. But hindi ibig sabihin na may autism yung isang tao, lagi nang delayed yung speech nila or no speech at all. Some cases also have advanced speech or no speech at all, and these are all valid. We also have echolalia as sign. This is a term used when someone echo words from the term echolalia. When someone echo words or phrases. Gaya nung na-experience ko na inuulit-ulit pala niya yung mga napapakinggan niya sa klase nila. Other cases are also silent at times but they do information dump kapag sobrang gusto nila yung topic. when they have special interests of something. Gaya ng sa series na Atypical. Atypical series is actually one of the most accurate depiction of autism. And yung main character dun, yung may autism, very interested siya sa penguins. So, lagi niyang bukang bibig yung penguins kahit malayo yung topic. And also, some individuals with autism use gestures more than words. And take note, non-speaking does not mean non-thinking. So, many of them are actually very intelligent, just with a different output. But we have to remember that not all of them are very intelligent kasi gaya ng sabi kanina, merong iba na may kasamang learning difficulties or intellectual difficulties yung may mga autism. So, kanya-kanyang case talaga. This is the nuance. They feel connection. They want connection more often than not. Iba lang yung language ng utak nila, kaya iba yung dating sa ibang tao. When it comes to play and social interaction naman, pwedeng mapansin ng parents or teachers na yung bata, he or she prefers to play alone. Or pwede ring nagsistruggle siya sa back and forth play, yung may interaction na play, gaya ng pasahan ng bola, switching turns sa board games, bahay-bahayan, pretend plays. Yan. They get overwhelmed so easily when it comes to back and forth play. Isang sign din ng pagkakaroon ng autism ng isang bata ay yung hindi nila pag-respond when other people call their name. Take note, hindi lahat, pero isa ito sa signs. They also avoid eye contact. Yung iba rin naman, they do too much eye contact. So, iba-iba yung signs. Na itong mga to, yung hindi nagre-respond sa pangalan nila, they avoid eye contact, and other signs, it's not because they don't care, okay? It's because social interaction can be sensory heavy for them and unpredictable, and it makes them feel unsafe. Now we shift to the second core area of autism, the repetitive behaviors and routines. Number 1 dito, steaming. Ito yung binanggit natin kanina. Ang example nito, rocking, the leaning forward and backward para kang nagduduyan ng sarili mong katawan. We also have tapping fingers on a table, flapping, rapid waving of hands near the body. Yun, itong mga to, signs to ng steaming, which is a symptom of autism. But take note, it's not bad behavior. It's just self-regulation. It's something they use to calm down, to have sensory comfort, to express their feelings, and to have relief from sensory overload. Meron din yung signs na they line up their toys or objects, and this is indicative to attachment to routine. But this is not being picky or controlling. It's just that yung predictability ng pagla-line up ng toys or objects is actually helping them to reduce anxiety. It feels safer for them. Kaya kapag may biglang change, even small change, pwedeng mag-trigger ng stress or meltdown. We also have special interests na nababanggit na rin kanina. Itong special interests na to, madalas itong nami-misinterpret na kadalasan sinasabing fixated or weird yung taong may special interests na sobrang, like, hindi kasi siya yung normal na special interest na, gusto nito ng arts, gusto nito ng piano. Yung sa kanila, it's a deep special interest. But we have to consider that these special interests can become strengths. A perfect example of this is Dr. Temple Grandin. She's an animal scientist and author diagnosed with autism. Now, during her childhood, she had a deep special interest in animals. So she spent hours studying animal behavior, textures, and their visual patterns. So she was regarded as weird or fixated because of this. But that same special interest grew into groundbreaking invention of humane livestock handling systems na sikat ngayon worldwide, na ginagamit ngayon worldwide, na ang laki ng itinulong para sa mga taong ganito yung hanap buhay. Dumako naman tayo sa sensory differences na isa ring core area of autism. Madalas hindi ito naiintindihan ng iba na merong hyper or hyposensitivity to sounds, lights, touch, textures, and pain ang mga taong may autism. It's either sobrang lakas, sobrang tahimik, sobrang matalim, sobrang dull ng mundo para sa kanila depending on the sense. Kung tayo, normal sa atin yung ingay ng motor or vehicles, para sa kanila sobrang ingay. So they cover their ears even during normal noises na para sa atin. Kaya nga yung mga ibang may autism, pinapagamit sila ng parents nila or sila mismo, they choose to use headphones na may noise cancelator features para magkaroon sila ng safe space lagi at hindi sila magkaroon ng meltdown or hindi sila ma-stress kapag mga ganitong pagkakataon. Masakit din para sa kanila ang bright light. Kaya nga dun sa atypical na series, iniiwasan nung main character yung bright lights na hindi siya lumalabas or hindi siya pumupunta sa mall na sobrang liwanag. They're also uncomfortable sa certain textures. Gaya na lamang ng mga tela. I remember one of my favorite scenes in the atypical series, yung main character, graduation niya nun. So, syempre nakatoga siya. And then, di ba yung mortar board, meron siyang tassel. So, yung tassel, napupunta sa cheeks niya. And, di ba, very sensitive sila sa textures. And, gusto niya nang tanggalin. Pero, pinipigilan siya nung nanay nung main character. Kasi, bawal daw. Kasi gusto nga niyang maging presentable yung anak niya. Pero, he was so close to having a meltdown. Kasi, naiirita siya. Tapos, marami pang tao. So, ang ginawa ng kapatid niya, which is one of my favorite characters in that series, ginunting niya yung tassel. That's actually one of the best solutions during those times na may mga ganitong scenario. Isa rin sa signs ng sensory differences when it comes to people with autism ay ang pagiging very picky nila when it comes to food. And it's not because maarta sila, but because of the texture. Yan. They're also easily overwhelmed in crowded places. Yan, social anxiety. And itong mga tong nabanggit ko, pwede ring baliktad. It can be the opposite. Mas naghahanap ng stimulation yung iba, such as jumping, spinning, touching things repeatedly. And ito, nagiging rason ito kaya nami-misdiagnose yung mga may autism. Sometimes nami-misdiagnose sila na ADHD, autism naman pala. Kaya medyo nakakalito siya. Kaya dapat kino-consider lahat ng factors before ma-diagnose yung isang bata or yung isang tao. Isa lang naman yung patutunguhan ng mga sign na to Sensory overload or the lack of sensory stimulation thereof can lead to shutdown or meltdown. At hindi ito pagwawala. Hindi ito klase ng disrespect ng isang tao. It's just that for them, the world can feel too much, too sharp, or not enough. Now, we have to remember that meltdowns are not tantrums. A tantrum is a choice. A meltdown is the brain shutting down from overload. Okay? So, these three, yung social communication differences, sensory differences, and repetitive behaviors, these are the heart of autism experience. Pero tandaan, iba-iba ang combination nito sa bawat taong may autism. Case-to-case scenario. Some experience all three intensely, some mildly, some in very unique ways. Pwedeng yung isang core area mild, yung isa severe. And here's something every parent needs to hear. If your child has autism, they have always had autism. You just didn't have the words yet. So early understanding leads to early support. And early support leads to confidence, growth, and a kinder childhood. Now that we understand these core areas of autism, let's talk about something often overlooked. That's autism in adults, and why so many go undiagnosed for years. Bakit nga ba may mga taong may autism na nadadiagnose lang kapag adults na sila? Before kasi, only obvious signs are being considered. Yung pagiging tahimik ng isang bata, yung nagla-line up siya ng toys, yung hindi lumilingon kapag tinawag yung pangalan, hindi nakakapagsalita, itong mga obvious na signs lang ng autism yung kinoconsider. But it doesn't always look like that. Kasi meron tayong tinatawag na masking. It's a huge part of adult autism and it means copying social behavior to fit in. It's when they're so used to masking that they already master the art of smiling at the right time, maintaining eye contact, acting normal. Pero this leads to burnout. This leads to anxiety and even identity loss. Kaya madalas, itong masking na to yung nagiging rason. Kaya nalilate yung diagnosis sa isang taong may autism. And here's something even more important. A lot of women and assigned female at birth individuals are diagnosed late because they tend to mask better. Madalas sinasabihan lang sila ng, mahihain kasi yan, sensitive lang yan, overthinker, awkward, weird. Pero yun pala, kailangan na nila ng intervention kasi they actually have autism. Now, when you're an adult and you're diagnosed with autism, mixed emotions yan eh. Meron dyan yung relief. Finally, there's a name for this. Finally, may explanation na kung bakit ako ganito. Pero there's also grief. Yung thinking na you wish you understood yourself sooner. And then there's healing. Now, I can live in a way that makes sense for me. Kaya it's very important for the people around them, all of us, na kapag may mga kilala tayo, may mga na-encounter tayo everyday like family na may autism, we should always uplift their strengths. And isa na rito ang pag-navigate ng supportive work environment for them. Because in work settings, adults with autism can thrive, but only with, take note, right environment, clear communication, sensory-friendly spaces. Autism doesn't go away with age. Sabi nga kanina, it's not something you can outgrow. And with understanding and support, adults on the spectrum can actually build relationships, careers, and lives that are truly fulfilling. Now let's shift the lens to something many people don't realize. Autism rarely comes alone. It's common to have co-occurring conditions, and understanding this is key to providing the right support, the tailored intervention for the people with autism. Ito ang ilan sa mga co-occurring condition or mga nararamdaman ng mga tao na kaakibat ng autism spectrum disorder. Una, ADHD or Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. This is the condition that describes someone's difficulty with focus or attention, hyperactivity, impulsivity, challenges in organizing tasks. And it can be confusing for teachers, parents, or even the person themselves. Kasi madalas, kapag autism, unang pumapasok sa utak ng mga tao is yung pagiging tahimik, social awkwardness, social anxiety, and never about hyperactivity. Pero, pwede kasi silang sabay na maging diagnosis ng isang tao. But with the right strategies, both can be managed. Next, anxiety disorders. Social situations, yung unexpected changes ng routine nila, yung sensory overload, lahat ng yan, it can lead to stress. And this isn't overreacting. It can actually lead to anxiety disorders. And these are real physiological and emotional response. Hindi po ito arte lang. Nandyan din ang depression. This can be due to social isolation, masking, or repeated misunderstandings. And ang pinaka-vulnerable dito, yung adults and teens na may autism. They can also experience sleep issues, difficulty falling asleep, waking up multiple times, irregular circadian rhythms, and itong sleep issues na to, they can worsen mood, focus, and daily functioning. Ito rin yung isang dapat nating ine-emphasize. May gastrointestinal issues yung ilan sa mga may autism. Why? Because they have sensitivities in digestion. Kaya rin sila picky sa ibang mga pagkain because they have food intolerances. And itong food intolerances na to, pwedeng mag-cause ng constipation or diarrhea for them. Stomach pain. And this is not behavioral. Uulit-ulitin ko sa conversation na to that these conditions, co-occurring conditions, are not behavioral. These are real physical challenges that impact their well-being. And last one, we have epilepsy or seizure disorders. About 20 to 30% of individuals with autism have co-occurring conditions like this. So, kailangan ma-monitor sila and magkaroon sila ng medical support. Very important itong mga to. Now, we have to emphasize that these conditions, co-occurring conditions, are not part of diagnostic criteria of autism. They're just coexisting. And recognizing them helps caregivers, teachers, and healthcare providers to support the person holistically, not just focusing on social or behavioral traits. Kasi nga, yung behavioral, mental, social, and physical traits, magkakasama yan. Kaya hindi pwedeng kapag nagkakaroon ng treatment sa isang taong may autism, yung focus lang ay yung social traits niya, yung behavioral traits niya. Hindi. Dapat ina-examine din yung physical traits niya. Yung physical manifestation ng condition niya. Next, we can move to the strengths of individuals with autism, the part that really shifts the narrative from challenges to gifts. Hindi lang naman po puro challenges ang meron sa buhay ng mga may autism. Meron din silang strengths. Ano tong mga to? Number 1, deep focus. They have deep focus on the topics they love, on the topics they are really interested with. And sometimes, these interests, this focus, deep focus, can be developed into expertise that others can only admire. Number 2, honesty. And itong honesty na to, it's not because they want to hurt anyone, but because they value truth and clarity. Ayaw mo nun, if ever may jowa kang may autism, sobrang honest niya sa'yo, hindi ka niya lolokohin. So it's refreshing in a world full of social masks and politeness. Ito rin yung isa sa magandang ine-emphasize ng mga TV show na napapanood natin na may characters sa may autism. Kasi very honest sila. Like the movie ni Sarah Geronimo na may autism siya dun. And may eksena dun na hindi talaga siya nagsisinungaling kahit mukhang na-offend na yung kausap niya. And it's not because gusto niyang ma-offend yung kausap niya. It's because ganun lang talaga sila. They value truth and honesty. The next one, creativity. They experience the world differently. That's why they have unique perspectives. And these unique perspectives are being used by them to contribute new masterpieces to the society, be it in science or in arts. Example dito is si Stephen Wiltshire. Isa siyang famous na British architectural artist who is a successful painter with autism. So, he is known for creating highly detailed cityscapes from memory after seeing them once. So, for example, kapag nakakakita siya ng magandang building for example, sa Dubai, kaya na niya itong i-paint or iguhit kahit na wala siyang pinagtutularan. And it's just from his memory. So, people with autism notice patterns, connections, and possibilities that others miss. Kaya nga sila tinatawag na natural problem solvers and innovators. We also have loyalty. Kaakibat ito ng honesty because they have deep value on formed relationships. Na kapag nagmahal sila or kapag nagkagusto sila sa isang tao, they are incredibly caring and attentive once trust is established. Kaya nga, grabe din sila magmahal sa pamilya nila. So, autism, again, is not just about challenges. It's a different wiring of the brain that brings strengths, talents, and perspectives that enrich our communities, schools, and workplaces. Now, once we see these strengths alongside the challenges, we start understanding autism as a diverse spectrum of human experience, not a deficit or problem to fix. Let's move on to the most important section of this conversation. It's how to support people with autism. Hindi ito nagkakalayo sa first episode natin. Kasi mababanggit pa rin dito yung una, listen, don't assume. Kaya nga, it's a skill yung active listening, empathic listening, it's a skill na hindi lahat ng tao may ganitong kakayahan. Yun, listen, don't assume. Before you give advice to them or before you correct their behavior, take a moment to ask what's wrong. Kapag yung anak mo nag-iiyak sa public place, na tinatawag mong tantrums, imbes na patahanin mo siya or pagalitan mo siya dahil maingay siya or what, you have to ask what's wrong first. You have to ask what he or she needs. Kung ano yung problema dun sa situation na kung nasaan yung anak mo sa time na yon. So you have to listen, you have to watch them and understand. I know it's challenging at times, but mas mabuti na yung makinig muna tayo kaysa mas lumala yung sitwasyon, mas malala yung meltdown ng anak natin or mga tao sa paligid natin, mga mahal natin sa buhay na may autism. Some of them may speak clearly, others use gestures or written words. And if ganitong mga pagkakataon na they don't use words, they just use gestures, do not force verbal speech. You have to support the communication method that works for them. And then after that, after listening, after not assuming, what's next? Adapt, not correct. So instead of doing it the normal way, we have to adjust the environment or expectations they are in. So small changes like, pwede mo silang ilipat sa mas tahimik na lugar, tapos dun mo sila kausapin. And then, pag nandun na kayo, use clear instructions na, oh, this is a very important event of our lives, na dapat ganito. Clear instructions lagi. It's always important to consider their predictable routines. That before we react negatively to their meltdowns, na dapat tanungin muna natin yung mga sarili natin. If you're a parent, tanungin muna natin, nasan ba tong anak ko? Ano ba yung nagbago sa usual na routine niya? Ano bang nangyayari sa paligid niya? Maingay ba? Masyado bang maliwanag? Ayaw ba niya ng pagkain niya? Masyado bang maraming tao? And kung yes ang sagot mo sa mga tanong na yon, and alam mo sa sarili mo na sensitive sila sa mga ganitong sitwasyon, then instead of being mad at them, we have to change their environment, their current environment. So itong small change na to is a huge difference in comfort when it comes to the people with autism. But we have to admit that there are certain scenarios na hindi sila pwedeng paalisin sa kung nasan sila, na may kunwari, important event na hindi pa kayo pwedeng umalis. Hindi mo pa sila pwedeng mapagbigyan sa kung saan sila mas magiging komportable. So kapag mga ganito, we have to use clear language na maiintindihan nila, ipaintindi natin sa kanila. Kapag hindi pa rin talaga, it's better to let them communicate in a way that they're comfortable with. Kung comfortable silang i-communicate na nahihirapan sila dun sa kung nasaan sila sa mga panahong yun, through crying, through meltdowns, okay. Let them feel the uncomfortable situation. Respect steaming. Respect their way of coping. So instead of stopping it, allow it in safe spaces. Pwede ko yung mag-CR na muna or lumabas kayo dun sa lugar na yun. Basta somewhere na safe siya. We should always provide sensory-friendly environments for them. I know na may mga iba na magsasabi sa atin na hindi dapat sila sinasanay sa ganito. Pero when they're kids, when they're just children, mas mabuti na dun muna tayo sa space na alam nilang ligtas sila kaysa ipilit natin sa kanila yung reality ng mundo at mas lalo silang matatrauma. Okay? And eventually, pwede nating ipakilala gradually kung ano talaga yung nasa labas ng safe space nila. Hindi dapat natin sila binibigla. Okay? We should warn about changes o hindi masusunod yung schedule mo ngayon kasi ganito yung kailangan nating gawin, ganito yung kailangang mangyari at wala na tayong magagawa dun. It's not something we can control. You can use schedules, but if may sudden changes, kailangan may warning sila na matatanggap. Give structure. This is also something na pinaka na-overlook, yung asking their consent before touching. Madalas sa atin, like beso, mano, hugs, lalo na we're Filipinos, we're known for being approachable. Pero kapag mga ganitong pagkakataon na kilala natin sila bilang may autism, we have to ask for their consent before touching. Or kapag batian lang naman, pwede namang hi lang. Diba? Kaysa matrigger natin yung anxiety nila. So before hugging them, holding their hands or any touch, we should respect their boundaries, just like with anyone else. The next one, support. Don't smother. We should offer help when needed, but never assume incompetence. Dito papasok yung scaffolding na tinatawag, na you can guide them sa simula, and then eventually, hayaan natin silang matuto sa sarili nilang mga paa. Just like when you teach the kids how to ride a bike, ganun lang din. So, we should always encourage independence while being available for guidance. Okay? While being available for guidance. Scaffolding. Huwag naman yung hayaan na lang natin sila na matuto ng mag-isa. No. Also, it's important to let them make choices and express themselves. Kapag binibilhan natin sila ng bagong gamit, like damit, we should always encourage them, empower them to make their own choices. Kahit baduy man yan sa paningin mo. Kung yun talaga yung gusto nila, wag natin silang pinipilit sa gusto natin. And just like any other normal kid, dapat ganun din sa kanila. Wag nating isipin na, may diferensya tong anak ko, kaya ako yung pipili ng damit niya. Kasi baka pagsisihan niya kapag tinukso siya ng mga kasama niya, ng mga kaklase niya. And then the last one, advocate for inclusion. This is the most important. Yung magkaroon sila ng accessible and accommodating classes or schools, workplaces, and public spaces. We should always remember na merong rights ng mga taong to. Meron tayong Magna Carta for Persons with Disabilities, so that is the legal basis for them to have accessible classrooms, sensory accommodations, workplace adjustments. Meron din tayong Enhanced Basic Education Act na pati yung mga taong may special needs dapat magkaroon ng inclusive, adapted curricula. Hindi dapat sila nahuhuli when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to gaining skills din. We also have the Safe Spaces Act. Dapat magkaroon ng, ito nga, very important, sensory-friendly and inclusive environments. We should always consider these rights before we do something to hurt them or harm them. Although may mga policy, may mga batas na ganito, is that enough? No. Kailangan pa rin ng resources dito sa Pilipinas when it comes to supporting people with autism or any other person na may special needs. Meron tayong Autism Society Philippines na nag-offer ng referral services, family education, awareness programs. Sa mga tao kasing may autism, yung buong pamilya nila involved dun sa case ng taong yun. It's not all about that kid. Kaakibat din nito sa family education or sa family support ang pagkakaroon ng awareness para sa mga kapatid, sa nanay, sa tatay, para, kunwari, yung mga kapatid, hindi sila lumaki na hindi naiintindihan yung case ng kapatid nila. Kasi damay-damay yan, kasi nakatira sila sa iisang bubong. They share the same domestic environment. So, kailangan na pagtutuunan din ng pansin yung mga kapatid nila. This is actually something that me and my group mates or thesis mates emphasize in our undergraduate thesis kasi madalas, ang daming cases na napapabayaan yung ibang kapatid kasi kulang sa awareness or kulang sa support yung magulang para sa mga anak. Kaya imbes na maging independent paglaki yung mga kapatid nila, mas nagiging dependent sila sa magulang. Kaya lumaki yung mga kapatid ng mga may autism na hindi napapansin masyado. And hindi dapat ganito yung maging kaso ng lahat ng pamilyang may mga member na may autism. Kasi although, yes, we have to emphasize that individuals with autism may be different, but they are not less. Pero kailangan din nating i-consider that siblings of individuals with autism may be typical, may be normal for the eyes of the society, but they do not deserve less. We also have IDS Autism Philippines. Ito naman, ino-offer nila behavioral therapy, educational support, family support. Again, it's very important, family support, family therapy. We also have Association for Adults with Autism Philippines. Ito yung a special place na tinatawag natin wherein isa itong residential community that provides education, therapy, and recreational spaces for the people with autism. Now, enough na ba na may policy, may law, may non-government organizations? May organizations na ganito, gaya ng ASP or Autism Society Philippines? No. Kailangan din ng support from the government. Alam nyo ba na pwedeng makahingi ng tulong pinansyal ang mga anak nyong may autism mula sa gobyerno? Meron tayong tinatawag na DSWD Financial Assistance for Autism. It's a monthly disability cash assistance na binibigay. And to apply, you have to have your valid PWD ID and medical certification and referrals from the doctor or the therapist of your child. So meron tayong mahihingi galing sa gobyerno. We also have the Cherish Project under the SWD pa rin to. It's a financial aid for in-school children with disabilities. Yung mga nag-aaral na may mga disabilities na mga bata. So, dito sa Cherish Project, binibigyan nila ng cash plus speech therapy, assistive devices, yung mga batang kailangan ng special needs. So, meron na tayong policy, meron na tayong resources na non-government and government. But are these enough para masuportahan yung mga taong may autism? No. Ano pa ang kulang? Kulang na kulang tayo sa therapists. Kulang na kulang ng therapists ang Pilipinas. Severely limited developmental pediatricians, child psychiatrists, clinical psychologists, occupational therapists, speech-language pathologists, behavioral therapists. Kulang na kulang po. Dito nga sa amin, walang psychological center eh. And mostly, 1 hanggang 2 lang. And itong 1 at 2 therapists na to, they serve thousands of children that families have to wait 6 months to 1 year just to get a single developmental pediatrician appointment. Ang hirap para sa mga pamilyang ito. Also, therapy centers are often concentrated sa major cities like Metro Manila, Cebu, Davao. Kaya nagkakaroon ng delayed diagnosis and support, kaya ang daming namatanda na, saka lang na-diagnose ng autism. And sa mga nadadiagnose ng late, nagkakaroon na ng increased behavioral challenges, hindi na madaling agapan. Nagkakaroon din ng lack of guidance sa schools, sa pag-accommodate ng mga taong may special needs like autism. Parents are getting exhausted and overwhelmed because of this. And dahil din dito, it all boils down to the person na may condition. They are getting misunderstood. Ang konti rin ng mga university na nag-offer ng specialized pediatric mental health training. Ang konti ng sahod. Kaya madalas nag-a-abroad sila. SPED programs in public schools are understaffed and overloaded. There is also a lack of government-funded therapy centers. And sana ito yung maisip ng mga politiko natin dyan, that there are also limited slots in hospitals and non-government organizations. You know, you can write all the policies you want. The laws, go ahead. Pero kung walang therapists, kung walang gagawa mismo ng treatment, walang specialists at walang trained teachers para sa mga taong to, paano magiging inclusive ang Pilipinas? Inclusion doesn't stop at awareness. Inclusion means support structure, trained professionals, plus accessible services. Sorry nagka-carried away ako. Kasi it's something that's very close to me. I've encountered many children who need support, pero hindi nila matanggap kasi kulang sila sa financial aspect and kulang din sa gagawa mismo ng treatment para sa kanila. So how do we solve this? I actually listed solutions for this seemingly impossible mission. And number 1 on my list, push for more scholarships for SPED teachers and therapists. Kasi doon naman nagsistart para magkaroon ng mga tao who are equipped to help these people, treat these people. Kailangan mag-start tayo sa education, sa educational system. And so push for more scholarships for SPED teachers and therapists. The second solution on my list is the campaign for government-funded therapy centers under LGUs na sana dumating yung araw na hindi na lang capital ng per region yung magkaroon ng therapy centers or part ng hospitals na meron tong mga to. Kasi dapat naman talaga every town, every city, merong therapy centers. Encourage more students to pursue psychology or any other related program. Kasi dito rin nagsistart yung grit, yung dedication, yung passion to help people like this. So yan, encourage more students to pursue psychology and other related programs. And then the last one, recognition. Recognize therapists as essential workers in public health. Wala nga yatang nag-offer na university dito sa Pilipinas for speech therapy Kaya konting-konti lang yung speech therapists dito sa Pilipinas. Dito sa province na kung saan ako galing, wala ni isa. Kailangan pang lumuwas pa Manila. Well, at least for the government-funded institutions like mga government hospitals, ganun, wala. So, napakahirap po. Maybe that's why that moment in the computer shop when I was in senior high school stuck with me. I realized we don't just lack understanding. We lack actual people who can support kids like him. And maybe that's what pushed me toward the psychology path. To learn, to help, to be part of building a better support system so that kids and adults with autism don't have to face the world alone. Because every person on the spectrum deserves to be seen, understood, and empowered. Before I end this conversation, let me leave this to you. Autism is not the opposite of normal. It's just a different, valid way of being human. Because when we understand, we include. When we include, we heal. And let's make that happen, one conversation at a time. We spend so much time fearing the broken parts of ourselves, but maybe they're just asking to be understood. This has been The Hidden Side of Us. I'm Jo, always here to remind you that even what hides in the dark is still part of you.